Hey everyone, this is Mike from Real Life Counseling. And you can tell it's getting a little chillier here in New York. I'm wearing a sweater instead of my usual shirt. Um, but today we're going to talk about something that I've mentioned before in a previous video to some extent, but I want to talk about it a little bit more now. And that is that the purpose of meaning in someone's life. I agree with Viktor Frankl, the developer of Logotherapy, and a lot of the other existential theorists and therapists, as well as philosophical people, this philosophical counseling, that meaning is really important in a person's life. A life without meaning, frankly, is a pretty empty life, and I think that one of the reasons why we have depression and anxiety and stress is because we don't feel we have a purposeful or meaningful life. And there are people that are just walking around really without having that meaning. And the meaning that we create for ourselves is tends not to sustain itself. We think that having money, power, fame, a house, a car, good job, whatever is meaningful. It's certainly nice, and having a good relationships, good friends and family is really important to having a happy life. But having meaning and purpose, I've talked about having positive thoughts. That's really important to be happy and healthy. Having a good social support system, very important. But the missing piece is having a meaningful life. And the question that I have is this: ask yourself this question: what is meaningful to you? If you say to yourself, well, I have a meaningful life, well, what exactly does that mean? I have a job, whatever job it is. How does that give meaning to your life? I'm engaged in a charity. Great. But answer the question. How does that provide meaning? Now, if you have an answer, that's fantastic. That's exactly what I want. I want you to have that answer. But think of it this way. You have doctors who save lives. And don't you think doctors feel depressed? And you could ask yourself, but they save lives. What is more important than that? You save other human beings on an ongoing basis. Talk about an inherently meaningful life. A person should wake up every day with joy in their heart. Look what they do. But do doctors never suffer from depression? Well, that's ridiculous. Of course we know they do. What about teachers who educate the young? What jobs are more important than teaching and medicine and therapy and people that police and firefighters and ambulance workers, and yet those people suffer from stress and anxiety and depression and sadness and loneliness and boredom. But how can that be? They have such a deeply meaningful life. Well, one of the reasons could be, of course, cognitive behavior. You can talk yourself out of it, right? You can say negative things about yourself even as you're doing wonderful things. And if you are lonely, if you don't have some good friends and support system, we're not meant to be alone. Some of us want to spend more time alone than others, and that's okay. But we shouldn't spend 100% of our time alone. That's not really very healthy, and not conducive to a happy life. But maybe what you're doing, what you think is meaningful, really isn't. It may be meaningful to other people, perhaps. Maybe you thought it was meaningful to you, but it's not, right? So you may need to re-examine what it is that gives your life meaning. What qualities are important to you? How do you know it's giving you meaning? Think of all the celebrities that are out there. They have all this money, they have all this fame, and they say, well, do they have a meaningful life? Well, I make believe for a living. I make songs for a living. Well, will these songs be around forever? I don't know. What about songs that were written and came out 100 years ago? How many people remember those? Or 50 years ago? If you're in an older generation, you might know some of the music from the 50s, or how about even the 40s, some of the big band era? How many people remember that? How about actors? How many people remember actors, right? We remember, Rudolph Valentino, right? Okay. Any others? Maybe, Fatty Arbuckle was popular, Charlie Chaplin, right? Maybe in the theater, Sandra Bernhard was. But how many of us know time erases memory, unfortunately, and what people think they're doing is very vital and important may not be, and maybe at some level people know that. But you think, I'm doing something important. I have a very meaningful life. Do you? If you do, that's great. I don't want to talk you out of having a meaningful life. If you really do, and you genuinely believe that, keep doing it. And in fact, inspire others to do it as well. But maybe if you're not feeling so good, examine why that is. Maybe if you're depressed, anxious, stressed, worried, to an excessive extent, is it because of your self-talk? Is it because you don't have as many people, positive people in your life that you need? Or maybe you thought you had a meaningful life, but it wasn't as meaningful as you thought. When you dug down a little deeper, maybe it didn't quite fill that place in your heart and your soul that really would give you a sense of meaning and purpose, that would give you a legacy to be proud of. So I would just examine that. Examine what you're doing in life. What gives you purpose? What gives you meaning? If you think you have it, keep going. If you're not sure, examine. Engage in some self-reflection. Why exactly does this give me meaning? Why do I think it gives me meaning? How? How does it give me meaning? How do I know? Will it give me meaning 5 years from now? What is meaning? That's a big question. So do yourself a favor, since meaning really is so important. Find out. Make sure that you're doing what you need to do to give yourself a meaningful and purposeful life, because you deserve it. I think the world deserves it. The world deserves something that you find important and that you're passionate about and that you can use to help make the world a better place. So find that meaning for yourself and for the rest of us, because we need people that are passionate and have meaningful and purposeful lives. All right, so if you like this video, please hit like. If you'd like to become a subscriber, please hit the subscribe button. And if you want to get notifications, please hit the bell. And if you have any comments, please feel free to give me comments, and I'll respond to all of them. And thanks so much. See you next time.